When Charlotte and I were on the verge of tying the knot, I was overwhelmed by a happiness I couldn't quite put into words. It felt like I was floating. She was the kind of woman men write songs about. Stunningly beautiful, brilliantly sharp, effortlessly charming, kind-hearted, and thriving in her career. There wasn't a single red flag in sight, nothing to suggest what was lurking beneath the surface of the loving and sweet woman I was about to marry. One sunny afternoon, I found myself standing at a bustling downtown intersection, waiting for the light to change. I'd gotten off work early, snagged a bonus, and was brimming with joy. Out of nowhere, I felt the urge to glance to my left. There, idling beside me, was a sleek car. To my astonishment, behind the wheel sat Charlotte, and in the passenger seat was a sharply dressed man with a distinct Middle Eastern appearance. The tinted windows made it hard to see anything, but something about their conversation caught my attention. As the seconds ticked by, I saw my wife doing something that shocked me to the core. Her lips met his in a kiss that was too passionate to be mistaken for a professional one. His hand was on her, exploring her in a way no man but me had the right to. I froze. The light turned green, but I stood there, unable to move, oblivious to the blaring horns of impatient drivers behind me. Somehow, I managed to drive home without causing an accident, though I couldn't recall how. My mind was a storm of disbelief and fury. When I talked to Charlotte that evening, she tried to laugh it off, dismissing my accusations as absurd. But under her feigned calmness, I saw the panic in her eyes. She made up a story claiming that her company sometimes required her to entertain rich clients to make deals, insisting that it was all part of her job. She even vowed to resign. But her explanations only fueled my anger. You said you'd quit, but what about now? How can you be so frivolous about going overboard like that? I snapped, pacing the room, my frustration spilling out in harsh words and frantic gestures. The dress she was wearing that night, the bright red one I admired, was the same one I'd seen her in during the date. Charlotte, now in tears, reached out to me, begging for forgiveness. Her desperation was written all over her face, but I couldn't bring myself to accept it. Even the thought of her touch disgusted me. How could someone I loved so deeply betray me in such a way? I need some fresh air, I muttered, grabbing my coat. I spent the next few hours at my friend's house, giving myself time to think, and giving her time to pack her things. When I returned, she was gone, as well as the traces of our life together. The divorce passed quickly. From that day forward, Charlotte and I never crossed paths again. Mutual acquaintances later mentioned that she had stayed at the same firm and was often spotted with different affluent men, their relationships far from strictly professional. Some people say that a person's ways can change, that even someone with loose morals can find redemption. But I couldn't bring myself to believe it. Once someone chooses money over integrity, over love, how can they ever truly be trusted again?